exited the country. That is on was actually as of end of March 2023, during the end of their financial year. And a few months later, the Central Bank of Kenya started the process of procuring the new notes in what they consider are, of course, that our notes are now getting old, and there was an imminent stock out of the 1,000 Kenya shillings note. And so they opted to do a classified procurement process, which meant that was not in the public eye, and the procurement process was not competitive. Instead, they identified the Germany-based money printer to print the 2.04 billion pieces of notes, which will equal which will be worth 689 billion Kenya shillings. That is what we'll be focusing on. What actually was it in good faith that this company was awarded? For the De La Rue company, as a nation, we had 40% shares, that is the national treasury, but in this Germany-based company, we have no share, meaning for the 14.2 billion Kenya shillings that we are going to pay the Germany-based money printer, we will not get any returns of up to 40%. That will form a better part of conversation this morning. With my key guests in studio, we'll be having as many voices as possible, which I also invite you via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Chacha, as well on the SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. Right here on this set, I'll be joined by legislators. Honorable Robert Basil, Member of Parliament Yatta, will be right here in studio. He is part of the Wiper Party, and they say they're now the new opposition party, official opposition. They believe ODM is already in bed with the government. Also, Honorable Frederick Ikana, Member of Parliament for that is Shinyalu, is also a member of the Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee of the National Assembly. A very key guest also will be on that panel. That is Honorable Joseph Makilap, Member Finance Committee of the National Assembly. The CBK Governor, Dr. Kamau Thuge, who they vetted, actually appeared before them yesterday just to shed some light into this particular currency printing deal. Once again, it stands at 14.2 billion Kenya shillings. There is an increase by 11% for printing 1,000 notes, 1,000 Kenya shillings, 1,000 pieces. That is about 6,870 thereabout, but compared to 2019, it is an 11% increase. We'll also be joined virtually by Ruth Kinyanjui. She is an economist, and Dr. Babu Owino, Embakasi North Member of Parliament, and as well, he is a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee of the National Assembly. Was this 14.2 billion Kenya shillings budgeted for? Was it also, or is it alone, factoring in the time that we are currently in? We have no finance bill of 2024, which was withdrawn due to public pressure. That will be the biggest conversation this morning, one that you can't afford to miss. But before that, let's focus now on this story where the Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT, and the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Teachers have remained adamant that their industrial action is still on come August 26th, saying the issues have not been resolved except for the commitment to implement the 2021 collective bargaining agreement. However, the Teachers Service Commission is reading from a different script, claiming that the meeting with the teachers union was harmonious and all issues have been resolved. And as Harry Chimea now reports, it now remains actually to be seen on whether teachers will resume normal operations come Monday or not.
All is not well yet, says the Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT, and the Kenya Post-Primary Teachers, KUPPET, after a meeting between them, the Kenya Union of Special Needs Teachers, KUSNET, and the Teachers Service Commission, TSC. Despite TSC's vow to implement the 13 billion shillings 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement, CBA, NAT and KUPPET maintain TSC still remains silent on several issues, including failure to confirm 46,000 JSS teachers to permanent and pensionable terms, failure to promote 130,000 teachers, failure to employ 20,000 new teachers, slashing of medical cover allocations, and failure to remit third-party deductions.
As they asked us to call off the strike, we told them we have organs to address this issue to finality. We told them we are not calling off the strike. The strike is still on until we sit with those organs and until Teachers Service Commission give us response. And we agreed that teachers will receive the second phase of the amended CBA in arrears, but we are waiting to see.
We had asked for the restarting of talks on the new CBA rounds. There were also no commitment from that front line.
However, TSC read from a different script, claiming the meeting was harmonious and all issues have been resolved, including the implementation of the 13 billion shilling CBA, promotion of 51,232 teachers and 20,000 teachers annually on common cadre, retooling of CBC teachers, review of career progression guidelines, remittance of third-party deductions, and the accessibility of teachers' medical cover.
The unions have their say in how they address their members, but we are the employer. And we are saying the burning issue today and the one that had not been resolved until almost I don't know when was the one on CBA. The other issues have been addressed. We are therefore beseeching all our esteemed teachers to report to schools on Monday for the start of the third term.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Union of Special Needs Education Teachers has agreed to resume teaching, saying it has faith that TSC will resolve their issues.
The payment of the 6,000 teachers who were deployed from the regular schools to the special schools, the Commission have started paying some of them. But we are asking the Commission by the end of the month, that is August, all who have been deployed to be paid the 10,000 allowance per month. Walimu wetu Jumatatu waelekee mashuleni. Mishahara by Friday inaingia kwa bank zao.
It now remains unclear whether teachers will down their tools or not come next week as schools reopen for the third term.
Solidarity! Forever! Solidarity! Forever!
Harriet Chimea, K24.
Still our focus on matters education. The Ministry of Education has directed Vice Chancellors of all public universities to admit all qualified students without exception. The Vice Chancellors have been mandated to accommodate first-year students with the understanding that their fees will be covered upon the disbursement of necessary upkeep. However, this directive may pose financial challenges to universities due to potential delays in fee payment, impacting their operations and planning. Mariam Jahid reports.
Landmark decision aimed at eliminating financial barriers, the Ministry of Education has announced that all qualified students will have access to higher education. A statement issued by Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos states that Vice Chancellors of public universities have therefore been directed to admit all qualified students without exception. End of quote. The ministry has further extended the deadline for fee-related appeals to December 31st this year and provide a 3-week processing time for the appeals, aiming to refine the new funding model. CS Ogamba further reaffirmed the government's commitment to an inclusive, accessible and equitable education system that leaves no student behind. This comes even as Chief Justice Martha Koome has raised concerns about the implementation of the new funding model. Koome has called for a re-evaluation of the program, adding that education should be made free by consolidating governors and MPs' bursaries.
When you follow, you also find that there is bursary fund given from the taxpayers' money, given to the governor, given to the women rep, given to the MP through CDF, given to the MCA. I hope none of them is here because they are going to lynch me. Now, all those bursaries, how are they disbursed? Why wouldn't you put them in education and make education free for all?
If this directive is anything to go by, public university management will face challenges in operating due to fee delays, which could have a ripple effect on the quality of higher education. Mariam Jahid, K24 Nairobi.
Away from that, Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi now says certain factors have been put into consideration before determining the prices of fuel at the pump. According to the first-time CS, while some factors can't be controlled by government, some are out of its control.
While serving as Ogunja MP and the leader of minority party in the National Assembly, Energy Cabinet Secretary James Opiyo Wandayi was fiercely critical of the government's failure to intervene on the skyrocketing fuel prices.
If there is one thing that is going to increase the cost of living in all aspects, it is this proposed increment on the VAT on fuel, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we all know for sure that fuel is a driver of our economy on all facets, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, if there is one thing that this government should have done to the so-called hustler, was to cushion the hustler from an increment in the cost of fuel.
However, the shoe now being on the other foot, upon being appointed to lead the energy docket, Wandayi seems to have shifted the goalpost if his statement today is anything to go by.
We must understand what really constitutes the price of fuel at the pump station.
Speaking at KPC headquarters, Wandayi noted that fuel prices are determined by various factors, some of which are out of government's control.
Key is the landing cost, over which I'm sure you know we have got very little control, because it depends upon so many other factors out there. Two is the taxation regime, which is something that is within the domain of Parliament, as you know.
However, the newly appointed CS highlighted that the government is working on ensuring efficiency in transportation and storage, saying that the same can help reduce the cost of fuel.
Issue of transport and storage costs. And that's something we are actually working on actively with the management and the board of Kenya Pipeline Company. What you see us doing here is essentially to try and address areas where we can improve our efficiencies. Because once we do so, it will have a very direct impact on the pump price.
To further ease the burden on Kenyans, the CS hinted that the government is eyeing external markets with a view of leveraging Kenya's expansive energy infrastructure to generate revenues from underutilized resources.
We are working on a strategy to ensure that all Ugandan petroleum requirements pass through our system. As we know, currently there are some little quantities they are getting through the port of Dar es Salaam. We are hopeful that in the fullness of time, and due to our improving efficiencies, they will have no option but to rely on the Mombasa port.
As the corporation looks at increasing its profit margins, KPC Managing Director Joe Sang attributed some of its success to the use of solar systems to run operations.
We're at the tail end of signing a memorandum of understanding between the two countries to be able to deliver products into Rwanda. And you'll be seeing a lot of announcements in coming days from the ministry. And we are very, very keen in terms of ensuring that the regional market is back to Kenya as the gateway of the larger East Africa economy.
As the Kenya Pipeline Corporation sets its sight in achieving the 12.5 billion profitability margin for the financial year 2024-2025, the corporation is seeking to bring Rwanda into its scope as well as reduce its operational costs. Ian Kitani, K24 TV, Lunga Lunga, Nairobi.
Now, Senate Speaker Amason Kingi has gazetted the removal of Meru Governor Kawera Mwangaza from office. This comes even as the High Court suspended the implementation of the Senate's resolution to impeach her and barred the Speaker from declaring the office vacant until an application she has filed in court is determined. When she mounted her defense before the Senate, that is actually on Tuesday, Mwangaza, among others, claimed that Meru Senator Kathuri Murungi was the author of her troubles. Muriel Adhiambo with that story.
Clerk, are you ready for the division?
Barely 12 hours after the Senate resolved to impeach Meru Governor Kawera Mwangaza,
The High Court has handed her a lifeline. High Court Judge Bahati Mwamuye issued orders to stop the implementation of the Senate's decision, saying Mwangaza's case raises weighty legal issues. He also barred Senate Speaker Amason Kingi from declaring the office vacant until the application is heard. Kingi has, however, already gazetted Mwangaza's impeachment. The Senate upheld all 3 charges against Mwangaza at 1 a.m. today. The charges include gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, gross misconduct, and abuse of office.
Pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Government Act, and Standing Order 86 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate has resolved to remove from office by impeachment Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor of Meru County, and the Governor accordingly ceases to hold office. Order, Sergeant at Arms.
Chaos was witnessed in Parliament when Kingi barred some opposition senators from voting, citing a violation of the Senate standing orders.
Senators Funa, you're out of order and you're not going to partake any proceedings of the House.
According to Mwangaza, Meru Senator Gathuri Murungi conspired with members of the County Assembly to impeach her, claims the County Assembly, through its lawyers, dismissed.
The MCAs are planning on how to impeach the governor immediately after we left here, and then they ask for comments from the Honorable Deputy Speaker of this House. He stands, and the video has been played here, and say, we as circumcised men, we will make sure that we assist you, honorable members, in whatever way. We will assist you, and the assistance that he gives to the MCAs is to make sure that they impeach me as many times as possible.
Is it really true that he is causing a problem in the Meru County, or is it that he's just playing his role, his rightful role?
Let her not hide behind other leaders. Let her not say that political leaders have instigated this motion. She has not brought as a witness any person, including any affidavit swearing that the senator of Meru County is behind this impeachment.
The case, which has the potential to reverse Mwangaza's third impeachment motion, prevents Meru Deputy Governor Mutuma Methingia from assuming office for the remainder of the governor's term under Article 182 of the Constitution. Muriel Adhiambo, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Meanwhile, a section of Meru MCAs have faulted the Senate for allegedly discriminating Governor Kawira Mwangaza on the basis of gender in pushing for her ouster. The faction has further lauded the High Court for suspending the impeachment, saying Mwangaza deserves a chance to serve the people of Meru.
So that they can have a copy.
Hours after the impeachment of the embattled Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, a division has been witnessed between MCAs supporting the removal of the governor and those against the move. The impeachment caused angry supporters of the governor to storm premises graced by MCAs who voted in support of the impeachment motion, causing chaos and fracas as the supporters were blocked at the entrance. As this happened, a faction of MCAs from Meru County on Thursday came out guns blazing, blaming the Senate for impeaching the governor. The MCAs maintained Governor Mwangaza fell victim to a political witch hunt for being a woman.
Na nataka kuambia Madam Kawira Mwangaza, our governor, koti imekurudisha, endelea kufanyia Wameru kazi na tutakuwa na wewe na tutafanya kazi na wewe. Na wale wanatutisha, mwache vitisho.
Washindwe.
Kenya iko na sheria. Kenya iko na katiba ya kufuata.
Na Kawira, Mungu amuonekanie kwa sababu huyo mama amefanya kazi. Na Kawira ile kitu anakufa kwa Meru, ni ile hataki pesa ya Meru iharibiwe, hataki pesa ya Meru ikuliwa na watu wachache, anataka mtoto wa Meru ule ako chini, mtoto wa mlemavu asome.
On their part, Meru County residents displayed a mix of reactions following the impeachment of their governor, some stating that she had been frustrated while in office, hindering her development agendas.
Mimi nimefurahi sana kusikia mama ameimpeachiwa personally. Mama kitu moja amenifanyia hii Meru, tulikuwa tumepelekwa shule ya kufanya barabara, cobblestones. Ile barabara iko pale Simba Wells. Hizo mawe, zile mawe zinafaa kukaa for 40 years. Saa hii anataka kutumia pesa ya serikali vibaya.
Saa hii mama akirundi hapa kwa Ndebe, tunampatia kura. Nasikia?
Tunajua ni siasa tupu.
Anthony Kwemoi, K24 TV.
President William Ruto is set to officially launch Raila Odinga's African Union Commission chairperson candidacy next week. While making the announcement, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called on Kenyans to rally behind Odinga while remaining mum on how much it will cost the taxpayers to fund the campaign. Odinga has also hinted at a transition exit from Kenyan politics should his bid be successful, as David Kagina reports.
Secretary for Foreign Affairs.
On 27th of August, Raila Odinga's candidacy for the African Union Council chair will be launched by President William Ruto, marking the beginning of a continental campaign that will culminate in elections set for February. Part of the campaign will be participating in a live African leadership debate known as Mjadala Africa, as a requirement by the AU to allow for candidates to outline their vision and how they will lead the transformation of Africa, allowing Africans to raise issues they want addressed.
Our candidate is undoubtedly experienced and well prepared to participate in the live debate to engage the African people on how to propel the continent's growth and ensure Africa achieves its goals of African integration and sustainable development, thus making our continent a major player in the global arena.
In a joint press address from his office at Railways, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, currently doubling up as the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, called on Kenyans to rally behind Odinga.
This is more than a candidacy. It is a national mission. Honorable Raila Odinga represents Kenya's voice, values, and aspirations on the continent. As he steps forward, let us stand with him, not just as a government, but as a united people.
In 2019, Kenya spent over 430 million in a 3-month campaign for Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed. She lost her bid to be the continent's top diplomat to her Chad counterpart, Musa Faki Mahamat. For Odinga's case, the government remains tight-lipped as to how much has been set aside for his campaign.
So I will not give you any numbers now, but the only thing I can tell you is that to be a candidate, apart from you fitting the bill in terms of competence, it will also require substantial resources. It is not a walk in the park, and Kenya is ready to walk this journey.
On his part, Odinga thanked the Kenyan government for supporting his AUC candidature, saying it is now all systems go, hinting at taking it slow on Kenyan politics going forward.
I'm not going to be very active in Kenyan politics henceforth, as I continue now to focus my attention on the continental campaign. But it is a phase, it is a transitional phase from active participation in Kenyan politics to moving towards African continental politics.
Odinga will be facing it off with 3 other candidates, with the latest entrant into the race being Djibouti's Foreign Minister Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. David Kagina, K24, Nairobi.
And as promised, usually being on a Thursday, we focus on matters economy. And already my guests are in studio. Today we'll be touching on the CBK's secret currency printing deal, which will cost taxpayers a whopping 14.2 billion Kenya shillings. Remember, the last printing deal was in the year 2019. Already my guests are in studio. That is Honorable Joseph Makilap. He is a member of the Finance Committee of the National Assembly, and as well Honorable Robert Basil, who is the Member of Parliament, Yatta constituency. A conversation that you can't afford to miss. Honorable Frederick Kikana, who is the member of the Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee, will be joining us shortly, even as we also engage other panelists, that is via a virtual link. Keep the conversation going via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Church, as well on our SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. We'll be right back with the newspaper review. Stay tuned.